All right, everyone. Good morning, or at least I'm recording this in the morning. We're going to go over the worksheet that you all had due on Sunday, November 8th. And after this, I'm going to go over some notes on reproduction, on how we go from just a single-celled zygote all the way to an adult, and then how the whole cycle repeats itself. Okay? So if you could go get your worksheet that you had, if you want to be sure that you have the right answers, this is going to be a good study guide for you to be getting ready for your test. That's going to be covering the cell cycle and cell communication. So let's go ahead and get started. So for the first part, you're going to be matching the term to the description. Let's go ahead and begin. The sister chromatids are moving apart. So they're moving apart from each other, they're being pulled apart. That is going to be E, anaphase. Number two, the nucleolus begins to fade from view. The nucleolus is within the nucleus. It is where ribosomal RNA comes from, rRNA, and that's how ribosomes are made. So if it's within the nucleus, then the nucleus is eroding, the nucleolus is eroding. That's going to be A, prophase. Number three, a new nuclear membrane is forming around the chromosomes. That would be C, telophase. Number four, the cytoplasm of the cell is being divided. That would be telophase as well. Number five, the chromosomes become invisible. This suggests that you had chromosomes and now they're becoming invisible. That would be C, telophase. The chromosomes are located at the equator of the cell. Well, they're not going to say metaphase plate because that would give it away, but that would be metaphase. Number seven, the nuclear membrane begins to fade from view. That would be A, prophase. And then the division or cleavage furrow appears. That would be C, telophase. Number nine, the chromosomes are moving towards the poles of the cell. That would be the same as one. That would be E, anaphase. Number 10, chromatids line up along the equator. That would be D, metaphase. Number 11, the spindle is formed. That would be A, prophase. Number 12, the chromosomes are not visible. So for this one, I would accept either B or C. Because in interphase, you definitely do not see the chromosomes. They're not even technically chromosomes. They're going to be chromatin. And then in telophase, the chromatin is, or the chromosomes decondense back into chromatin. So, if you had a gun in your head, I would choose B. But if you chose C, I can definitely see how that would also be the answer. Number 13, cytokinesis is completed. That means it's over. You're starting the cycle again. Well, remember that this is a cycle. It goes interphase, M phase, interphase, M phase. So cytokinesis is part of M phase. It's the end of M phase. So when M phase is over, you start interphase again. So that would be interphase, B. The cell plate is completed. That would be interphase. Now, a lot of people in class said telophase or cytokinesis. It's not those. Telophase, the cell is not divided in two. In cytokinesis, at the end of cytokinesis, it is dividing in two, but it says that the cell plate is completed, which means you now have two daughter cells. So that means you're starting over into interphase again. Okay, number 15, chromosomes are replicated. That would be interphase. The reverse of prophase. In prophase, the nucleus erodes and the chromatin condenses to chromosomes. So this is the opposite of that, where the nucleus reappears and the chromosomes decondense to chromatin. That would be telophase. And then the organization phase would be interphase. You're getting ready. All right, I'll let you look those over. You can put on pause, think about it, see how you're doing. Now, fill in the blank. Some will be used more than once. What phase are daughter cells in as a result of mitosis? That would be interphase. During what phase of mitosis do centromeres divide and the chromosomes move towards their respective poles? E, anaphase. What is the phase where chromatin condenses to form chromosomes? A, prophase. What is the name of the structure that connects the two chromatids? F, centromere. In a chromosome pair connected by a centromere, what is each individual chromosome called? G, chromatid. 23. What are the two parts of cell division? This is a two-part answer. Mitosis and cytokinesis. 24. Hold on, I gotta sneeze real quick. All right. What structure forms in prophase along which the chromosomes move? That would be J, spindle fiber. Which phase of mitosis is the last phase that chromatids are together? D, metaphase. Which phase of the cell cycle is characterized by a non-dividing cell? B, interphase. Number 27. What structure is produced when protein fibers radiate from centrioles? J, spindle fiber. Number 28. What forms across the center of a cell near the end of telophase? What forms across the center of a cell? Okay, that would be K, cell plate. So that would be the only answer that makes sense. That's if you're doing a plant cell. 29, the period of cell growth and development between mitotic divisions. That would be B, interphase. And then 30, what is the phase where cytokinesis occurs? That's pretty redundant. That would be cytokinesis. That's part of M phase. All right. If you want to pause it and look over your answers, you can rewind a little bit and go back. Let's finish up the last part. The diagram below shows 6 cells in various phases of the cell cycle. Note the cells are not arranged in the order in which the cell cycle occurs. Use the diagram to answer questions 1 through 7. All right, number 1, cells A and F show an early and late stage of the same phase of the cell cycle. What phase is it? That would be prophase. Which cell is in metaphase? Cell C. Which cell is in the first phase of M phase? That would be A. In cell A, what structure is labeled X? I'll take 2 answers. You can either say the centrioles. Remember that a pair of centrioles is called a centrosome. List the diagrams in order from first to last in the cell cycle, okay? We have D, interphase, A, early prophase, F, late prophase, C, metaphase, E, anaphase, B, telophase. Are the cells depicted plant or animal cells? They are animal cells. Explain your answer. Well, in telophase, which is cell B, a cleavage furrow is evident. Only animal cells get a cleavage furrow. If it were the other type of cell, which would be a plant cell, what would be different in the diagram? A cell plate would be evident in telophase. What is the longest phase of the cell cycle? Interphase. Why is mitosis important? To ensure the organism can grow, repair, and replace cells. Predict what would happen if an individual had faulty spindle fibers. Daughter cells would possibly not receive the correct number of chromosomes. I want to talk about this one for just a minute. I was telling you guys in class that if you go to your pillow, you go to your bed, you can probably find hair and skin flakes all over the place. We naturally just shed our skin. It happens. Well, every 3 seconds, 100,000 of your cells are destroyed. So it happens internally too, not just on the surface. Well, every single one of your cells, except for your sperm if you're a male or your eggs if you're a female, every single one of them, except for gametes, have a full copy of your chromosomes, all 46, a full copy of your DNA. So for me, if I were to pinch my cheek and I was able to get a skin cell, I could put that skin cell under a microscope, find the nucleus, and within the nucleus would be all of my chromosomes, all 46. If I was able to chip off a piece of my bone and identify a bone cell, which is called an osteocyte, I would be able to find the nucleus and I would be able to find the DNA inside, and it would be 46 chromosomes. If you would reach into my chest and grab my heart and pull out a heart muscle fiber, which is a muscle cell for a heart, you could find the nucleus and there would be 46 chromosomes. So what I'm saying is, as humans, we have approximately 100 trillion cells. And I'm not sure if everybody realizes this part. In every one of your cells, all 100 trillion, there's a full copy of your DNA. Every single one of them. So you have essentially 100,000 copies of your DNA. Or what, excuse me, 100 trillion, I said 100,000, 100 trillion copies of your DNA. Now, if you're a female, in your egg cells, you have half that. And if you're a male, in your sperm cells, you have half that. All right, back to this. Number 10. Predict what would happen if cytokinesis was skipped. Well, a daughter cell would have 2 nuclei and a full set of chromosomes in each nuclei. So that wouldn't be good. Number 11. What would happen, or what is the difference between a cell plate and a cleavage furrow? Okay, for a cleavage furrow, it forms in animal cells, and when it comes to dividing, it helps an animal cell divide from the outside in. For a cell plate, it forms in plant cells, and it divides a plant cell from the inside out, because plant cells have a cell wall. You can't get through that. Number 12, draw a cell and label the nucleus, centrioles, spindle fibers, pole of cell, and equator of cell. So to me, this sounds like it's really describing prophase, so I'm just going to do as it asks. I am going to draw the nucleus, which I have right here, but I'm drawing the nucleus looking a little fragmented, which is what happens during prophase. Here's one pair of centrioles, here's another pair of centrioles, so there's the centrioles and you have the other ones on the other side. And coming from the centrioles, the spindle fiber looks to be forming. Sometimes you can just call it the spindle. The poles of the cell are where I put the X's. Pole just means opposite. They're opposite sides, like North Pole, South Pole, or in chemistry, polar, non-polar, charged or not charged. And then the equator would be this dotted line. That would be like the metaphase plate. Okay, so that is the entire worksheet. You can go back and look at any portion of it. We're now going to switch over to your notes, and we're going to talk about the last part of your notes, which is going to be reproduction. So I'll share the screen with you in just a moment. Let me get it all set up. Okay, you should be able to see my note page now. Let me just double check. You are. All right, so let's put some lines here. And this is going to be called reproduction. All right, before we begin, you need to be able to recall and remember a few words, a few terms that we learned when it comes to the cell cycle. So let's just do a term review real quick. There's going to be 2, 4, 6 terms you'll definitely need to remember for this. All right. First one is going to be diploid. The symbol for diploid is 2N. Diploid can be defined as a full set of chromosomes in each somatic cell. Another way of saying this is you have 2 chromosomes per pair. And a number that you all must remember for humans, 2N equals 46. You must remember that. That means that we have 23 pairs. Now, diploid is a full set of chromosomes. Haploid is a half set of chromosomes in a gamete. Another way to look at this is 1 chromosome per pair. For humans, you have to say N equals 23. Now on the AP exam, or the Hillsborough County exam, you might get a question, for instance, it might say, you stumble upon the mythical land of Narnia and you are able to find a unicorn egg. I don't know, unicorns lay eggs, whatever. And you're able to determine that the baby unicorn inside has a diploid number of 30. What is its haploid number? You have to be able to say N equals 15. Or let's flip that. Let's say you go to Mars and you discover a type of plant, and the plant's haploid number is 24. What is its diploid number? Well, diploid is double the haploid, so diploid would be 48. So these are little things that can be really easy for you to know. You just have to know how it works. Diploid is a full set. Haploid is half the diploid. All right, moving on. Somatic cell. That would be body cells. Anything that's not a sperm, anything that's not an egg. Brain cell, heart cell, liver cell, bone cell, cartilage cell, tendon, ligament, organ, blood. Everything in your body is a somatic cell. It falls all under that umbrella. These are diploid. And then we have gamete. A gamete is a sex cell. Sperm and egg. They are haploid. All right, and then the next two, the final two, you'll need to definitely recall. Mitosis, that's a big one. Mitosis is a process in which a diploid parent cell divides into 2 diploid daughter cells. And I almost forgot to mention, they are identical. Mitosis is good for growth, repair, and replacement of old worn out cells, like when you're shedding your skin on your bed. Remember that you have a parent cell. It will divide into 2 identical daughter cells. If I bite my lip, I'm chewing gum and I accidentally bite my lip and there's blood, I damage the cells. I have an open wound. I want lip cells to come back where the lip cells were before I bit into it. You want the exact same cells that were there. I don't want to have bone cells growing on my lip. That would be really weird. So you want to have the identical cells that are already there. Okay, and finally, meiosis. We're going to briefly mention meiosis today. We'll talk more about meiosis in Unit 5, at the beginning of Unit 5. All right, so this is a process in which a diploid parent cell divides into 4 haploid daughter cells. And all these daughter cells are unique. This is just meant for gametogenesis. Genesis means creation or beginning, and gameto means gametes, which are sex cells. So this is the beginning of sex cells. For ladies, this is called oogenesis. Oo, O-O, means eggs. And for males, it is spermatogenesis. Okay, so you start off with a diploid parent cell, and some people have been asking in class, what cell is that? It's called a germline cell. These are cells that are diploid, they are body cells, but their destiny is to become sperm or egg. Well, they're going to divide into haploid cells, and then it's going to divide again into 4 unique cells. Now, these 4 cells will become sperm. And so one diploid becomes 4 sperm. When it comes to females, it's a little different. Ladies, your cells, your egg cells, do not complete meiosis 2. And if you don't know, this is meiosis 1, this is meiosis 2. They don't complete meiosis 2 unless they are fertilized by a sperm cell. They stop about halfway. You know, there's in meiosis 1, there's prophase 1, metaphase 1, anaphase 1, telophase 1. And then in meiosis 2, there's prophase 2, metaphase 2, anaphase 2, telophase 2. You'll stop at around metaphase 2. And if there's not a sperm cell to fertilize your egg cell, then you're going to shed it from your body and start all over again. That's what the menstrual cycle is about. It's a cycle. It repeats itself over and over and over and over and over until you run out of egg cells. Males, you begin spermatogenesis probably around 11 or 12 years old when you begin puberty, and you will not stop. I shared with some of you in class that there is a man in India who's known to be the oldest father, like new father. He's 90 years old. His wife is 50, and he says he's going to keep on having children. But women do run out of eggs. You have a finite supply, not an infinite, a finite supply. And when you run out, that's called menopause, where your eggs are gone. So generally you don't see a woman in her 60s or higher, even 50s, have children. 50s is more possible, but you're definitely going to see more in the 20s and 30s and 40s, maybe 50s. But there is a risk of some complications with pregnancy as a woman gets older. All right, and we can get into all that when we get into genetics, which is going to start next unit. Okay, so now we have these terms all hashed out. Let's go over the reproductive cycle I want to explain to all of you. So first off, let's have a male. So this is a male human, and he is diploid. All of his cells except for one type are diploid, okay? And here we have a female. She is also diploid. Well, through the process of meiosis, and only meiosis, and this is the only time meiosis will be mentioned in this lesson, or in this diagram, the male is going to produce sperm cells. These sperm cells are haploid. Remember that all products, all cells that are products of meiosis are haploid. So there's N. That means if this is a man and it's a human, he has 46 chromosomes in every cell, but the sperm is only 23. And then the female is going to produce an egg cell. And the egg cell is also haploid. Okay? So that's going to be through the process of meiosis. And kind of crunch for space over here. So let's say that his sperm fertilizes her egg and they come together. Boom, right there. We call that fertilization. In fact, the word sperm means seed. Another word for fertilization is conception. We say that the miracle of life happens at conception. Conception is that moment where the sperm's nucleus fuses with the egg's nucleus. And so 23 fuses with 23, half of mom, half of dad makes all of you. And this is going to result in a fertilized egg, which we call a zygote. A zygote is diploid. You all used to be a zygote. A zygote is a fertilized egg. It's just one cell. All right, well, through the process of mitosis, and let me be clear on this, everything from here on out is mitosis. Mitosis is growth in this part. So one cell is going to divide into two cells. Two cells will divide into four. Four will divide into eight. 8 will divide into 16. And you're not seeing things, they are actually getting smaller. The cells do get smaller. And remember that the egg cell is the biggest cell of the human body. You can actually see it without a microscope. So if every other cell is too small to see without a microscope, that means that after you have a zygote, when it divides, it does get smaller and smaller and smaller. And I'm not going to keep doing this whole 2 to 4 to 6 or 2 to 4 to 8 to 16 to 24. But what I am eventually going to get into is I'm going to draw a 32 cell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Roughly 32 cells. This is called the morula. It's about 30 cells. And then continue this. I'm going to draw another, big ball of cells. Every little dot is going to be a cell. So just work with me on this one, guys. Just use your imagination because I don't want to take up all of your time. This is going to be a blastula, and that's going to be 100 cells. And these are all made of stem cells. And then even weirder, as this continues development to about late first trimester, with human pregnancy is 9 months. And I don't want you guys to think that every organism is 9 months. I think an elephant is closer to 2 years. Whales are pretty long gestation periods too. Puppies and kittens, they're shorter than humans. So shorter time span. So every organism has a different gestation period. Humans is just 9 months. Do not make the assumption that everything is 9 months. It is not. Not everything is 9 months. We are. I'm sure there's other organisms out there and other species out there that are close to 9 months, but everything is different. Well, next is this. This is pretty weird. It looks like a fish, and I'm going to teach you this when we get to evolution. Humans are mammals. Bears, pigs, livestock, horses, dogs, cats, whales, apes, uh, you name it, squirrels, bats, anteaters, everything that's a mammal can trace its ancestry to have evolved from reptiles. This is way before dinosaurs. They evolved from reptiles. Reptiles evolved from amphibians, and amphibians evolved from fish. Fish have gills and tails. Amphibians, some have gills and tails. Well, when you look at a human or a pig or a turtle or a bird or anything like that, in its gestation, it's like watching 500 million years of evolution within just a few months. And so the reason why, as an embryo, and that's what all this is all the embryonic stage. We have, or we look like we look like a fish because if you look at the grand scheme of the evolution of life on Earth, all mammals eventually, if you go back far enough, evolve from fish. Um, and so I want to just remind you that this is all diploid. This is all mitosis. We're just growing here. Well, eventually that embryo in the second and third trimesters will become uh, a fetus, where it's going to be bigger and it's going to look more like a person. It's not my best fetus, but it is what it is. You know, when you're a fetus, you're kicking and you're squirming and you're twisting inside your mom's uterus. You're starting to look more and more like a human. And then that fetus will be born. It's going to be a little baby. And then that baby's going to grow up to either be a man or a woman. This is all diploid. So this is all mitosis, all of this, all the way through. Growing up, just growth and development, all the way to the adults. And the adults, when you guys hit sexual maturity, you're able to perform meiosis. When you're 5 years old, you're not doing meiosis. You're not sexually mature yet. When you're 10 years old, you're not. But when you hit puberty, you start. And that is about it. If you have any questions, be sure to message me. Talk to you later.